Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 9 of One Step at a Time with Charlie Chen. Um, Now, the original title for this video is actually How to Combat Evil. But then I gave some thought about evil, and it seems that a lot of times, if I titled it like that, self righteous people might think that everyone else is evil, and because some people evil is a point of view, right? So I really had to think hard and think about like what is it that I actually want to say? What's the message, right? And the message actually is how to combat manipulation and and manipulation in all forms, but mostly in propaganda. Now, the reason why I want to do this is that, we've discussed many things on this channel. And, well, the thing with that is, while we can shed light to things, for most people, understanding itself is not good enough. So I think that it would be of value to actually give some tips and give examples and perhaps give pretty much at least show you what success looked like or how to ward off manipulation. Now, I guess we can start with something that's more tangible. So, for instance, we heard of different slogans before. So, like for instance, we could say, Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, right? Well, efficiency. And it's not just Doge, it's like companies wanting efficiency, right? Now, on paper, without any context, efficiency, people like efficiency, right? But what they don't tell you is like, what is getting more efficient? How is it getting more efficient? And if it is being more efficient, pretty much for things to be efficient, there is a cost, there is some sort of effort. Where is that cost and effort coming from, right? And to whose benefit? They never mention that, right? Or for instance, something from World Economic Forums, you have things like you will own nothing and you'll be happy, right? And everything about this, you can question it. Like, what does it mean to own nothing? Are we talking about just not owning a house, not owning a car? Or maybe are we talking about not even owning the clothes on your body, no access to food? Like, what are we talking about? Like, what does it mean by owning nothing, right? And then suppose you don't own anything, then how do you exist, right? Do you even own your own body, right? Own nothing. What does nothing mean, right? And then, of course, definition of own. What does it mean to own something, right? Because it seems that in modern days, the definition of owning something is also changing. And then, of course, you will own nothing and you'll be happy. Be happy. What does it mean to be happy, right? Does it mean to be with family? Does it mean no responsibilities? Does it mean taking drugs? Or, like, it doesn't tell you what kind of happiness, how it is achieved. And it almost sounds magical, right? Like, own nothing and be happy. It's almost like the closest thing that even makes sense is like have no responsibilities, nothing holding you down, and you're happy. But living as long as I did, no responsibility is not exactly a happy state. Because for us to feel happy, yes, we want autonomy, but we also want people to rely on us because that's part of happiness, right? Where people can count on you. So there's that, right? Another example, liberty and justice for all, right? Famous American quote. Well, what does liberty mean, right? How come it doesn't say freedom? How come it doesn't say, I don't know, equality, right? It's liberty. Now, from some random video and random quotes I've seen on the internet. Liberty, they were referring to sailors are free to do whatever during the duration when they're at the port, right? So now that's apparently the liberty that they were talking about, which is weird because the original definition is that you're free to do whatever, right? But an important distinction of liberty is that having the right and power to be free. Well, then so liberty sounds great. People like to say liberty, but do people really understand liberty? Do people actually have the right and the power, like the things that it takes to achieve liberty, right? For instance, right and power. Okay, then the question is, where do the rights come from? Where does the power come from? If you own nothing, do you still have rights? Do you still have liberty, right? And then who's enforcing the right? Does it come from your fellow human beings, like your fellow neighbors? Or perhaps, I don't know, is it the government that's enforcing it? Nobody talks about it. It's almost like you'll be rich. But we don't talk about like how you're going to get rich, where the money comes from, how long it takes to get the money. You'll be rich. And apparently that's enough for people to just be happy and trust the message just because it's positive, right? Then, of course, you also have things like where do rights come from? And then when are these rights enforced, right? And when are they taken away? And then who does it mean by all? Justice for all, right? If you have read Animal Farm, some are more equal than others, right? So, things that they don't talk about. Another one, this one is more common. It's like, happy wife, happy life, right? Well, what does it mean to be happy? What is a happy wife? Are wives capable of being happy, right? And then happy life. What does it mean to have a happy life? I mean, assuming that happy wife, happy life, it means that, the wife is not nagging you, or perhaps, at least she feels content, right? So then does that mean a happy life is peaceful, right? Now, of course, earlier we talked about like having people counting on us is good, right? So perhaps you can be that too. A wife that's counting on you, you're happy, right? And then let's see, another one. The truth will set you free. Yeah? Well, what kind of truths? Where are the truth come from? Who's saying the truth? And, what time was the truth, right? Because just because something is true, if the timing is wrong, it might not be true because the context changes. Exactly. Under what context, right? Then you have, like, of course, set you free. What does it mean to be free? Because living this long enough, free and exile, like being free and being exile, is so close together, and they have totally different possible outcomes, right? And of course, truth will set you free. I mean, the more truth you know, the more burdened you are, really. So how is that setting you free, right? Give me liberty or give me death. Well, what is liberty? What is death? And why is it given, right? Right, exactly. Why is it given? Are you asking for it or are you taking it, right? Because is this a demand or is this an ask, right? Now, of course, in the context, I would imagine it's a demand, but no punctuation. Well, at least that's the definition that they want regular people to think about, right? But give sounds like a baby asking something, right? Even a baby can demand. Okay, another one. Make America great again. Well, that's a more recent one. Then the question is, what America? Are we talking about American citizens? Are we talking about Americans? Are we talking about the rich folks? Are we talking about the poor folks? Are we talking about regular people? Like, what does it mean by America, right? Why isn't it make American great again, right? It's America. And then, of course, America, we have North America, South America. So much assumptions. Like, really short sentence, not much elaboration, right? Make America great again. Okay, great. What does it mean to great? And then also, again, compared to what time period, right? Again, assumes that we were great to begin with, right? So then the question becomes, when are we great? Like, what are the things that makes it great, right? Because different people think of America is great for different reasons, right? For instance, I don't know, when we had gangs like Rico and things like that all the way back, like maybe at that time it was great for like gangsters and property, you know, property gangs and things like that, right? And then of course, but yeah, like again, great like roaring 20s, 1920s, or like great like when people were given rights, like when were we great? When we broke free from the British? Like nobody talks, like it's not, it feels good, but it doesn't actually tell you what. It's like just saying, oh yeah, and everyone who says, oh yeah, then they're gonna vote for the whoever that makes them feel good, right? Like there's so many things between the messaging, at least in propaganda or in our quotes, because they're leaving out so many different things that's required to make a proper judgment. And to tie back to an earlier concept, and that's the thing, right? If you don't have full information, can you actually properly give consent? There's an imbalance of information, right? One side knows exactly what they're doing and what they're offering. Another side is given limited information and supposed to just say yes or no. Like sometimes there's not even an option for you to ask questions, right? Then the question is, are you actually given consent? Like, do you actually have consent if you never had it to begin with? Because, imbalance. Anyway, so that's the first part, right? So another thing I wanted to talk about after talking about like the questions that you need to ask, well, then how do you actually combat manipulation? Now, before getting into that, I think it's important to talk about cover a quick topic, right? Before I talked about the three ways of power, right? So you're either quick, so you can get to resources faster, and then you get out before the times change or before people figure things out, right? Or you're strong, right? Like other people can act fast, but if it is important, you can knock people out of the way, you can grab whatever you need, right? And then, of course, you also have the manipulators. It's not exactly evil, but it's manipulators. You change the rules, right? Like, for instance, I don't know, like a while back, I forgot who it was, but the, invaders on boats with huge sails, and then they were able to figure out, like huge sailboats, and they were able to figure out how to use magnetic lens and the mirror to light those sailboats aflame from a distance, right? That fundamentally changes the rule of the game. Or for instance, well, I don't know, like when they make owning crypto or gold illegal, and then people can't, like you literally change the rules, so regular people under the change in rules no longer hold on to it, and then they buy up when it's at a reduced price and then make it legal again once they hold all the cards, right? Same thing with a different property, right? Think about Lahaina, think about Los Angeles fires, right? Sometimes I feel like these aren't coincidences, but that's the thing, right? Then they're going to say, well, what proof do you have? And then since you don't have proof, and that's the thing I want to go against. I want to create a group of people a community. I want to help Americans. And actually, if you're watching from outside America, thank you. I don't know why you're here, but I want to help people at least not reach the point. As in, if you reach the point where a manipulator are actually really, really like straightforward and just say, prove it, you already lost because they wouldn't ask it unless they know you have no proof because manipulation is all about control. So that's why now, of course, if someone is faster or stronger than you, it can be used for evil, but generally speaking, that's just competition. You get outgunned. I mean, I don't know what to say other than get good, right? But against manipulators, now manipulators, if they could outspeed you, if they could outgun you, like outpower you, they would have done it already, unless there's some other motives. And that's what I want people to be sensitive about. Because if you're sensitive to manipulation, you become harder to manipulate. Okay, so we talked about don't just take slogans / quotes at face value. So how do you actually combat at least conventional evil or manipulation, right? Now, the goal of manipulation is to, of course, get an outcome that's not natural, right? And in a way, that's why sometimes you see in literature where they say anything that's not natural is evil, which is not true, but it makes sense in this particular context, right? So the way you battle manipulation is pretty much you drag it out. Because the whole point of manipulation is that they want a certain outcome. The manipulators want a certain outcome, and once they get their certain outcome, they want to move on to the next target, right? Because if they had time, if they had the patience, they would have done it the right way, right? So they either want an outcome that's not achievable normally, or they want to do it faster or something like that, right? So the way you do it is combat that. You pretty much is just drag it past their time frame of preparation, right? So that you make it so that it takes as long as normal process, perhaps longer if they try to pull a fast one on you, right? That's how you combat manipulators. Now, of course, manipulators are also like children sometimes, right? Like, you know how, I don't know, like if you're younger, okay, I was that kid, but not exactly as a manipulator, but more like I was a attention whore. In a certain way, I would cause a scene to get the reaction out of the parents just to know that, you know, they still love me. But that's beside the point. But the way you combat that, of course, is you ignore them, right? Because by ignoring them, you're already dragging out the time, right? And by dragging out the time, you know, you make it less feasible for them to manipulate. So they have to go back to either outspeed or outstrength for competition, right? Okay, we have this, but that's the thing. If it is actually good for you, you can take all the time you want and it will still be there for you, right? It's like that quote, if someone loves you, you let it fly like a bird, and if it comes back to you, it belongs to you. The same idea, right? Because if you have to chase after it, then the manipulation has succeeded. Or in business terms, it would be something like the person who can walk away wins, right? The person who can walk away the most wins, right? Okay, then the question becomes, well, how would you? So that's how you combat manipulation. Then the question is, how do you become more resilient, right? Well, one, you want to have a proper temperature check. So a proper temperature check is like, just do things. Be like, make friends, visit family, understand what your normal life is. Like, get a feel, sort of like get a temperature check of how things are supposed to be. Because the closer thing, like the more in tune with the natural rhythm of wherever environment you're in, changes and manipulation becomes more jarring because they break the natural rhythm that you have developed by paying attention to your surroundings and becoming one with your surroundings, right? Now, that's one, understanding what your basic, rhythm of your life is so that you understand manipulation as they come at you. Another one is that, manipulators like to go after people who are isolated, right? Now, why do they like to go after people who are isolated? Well, because people, when they're isolated, they're weaker alone. And then on top of that, it's hard. Well, they're weaker alone, yes, but there are many reasons for it. And this actually will sort of circle back into itself. So to combat manipulation, on top of dragging things out and understanding your natural rhythm, you also want to see you also want to have friends and family. Like, it's so important to have your own community, having your own friends and family, because the way things are, especially here in America, they're dividing us, right? The young versus old, Gen Z versus boomers, millennials, I don't even know where they go. Gen Z, millennials versus boomers, men versus women, regular people versus LGBTQI, blah, 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 blah. Too many things to count. But rich versus poor, right? There are so many, people are so divided that they're easy pickings for manipulators and scammers. So I think it's so important for all of us to come together. If nothing else, I don't know, if we are as basic as we are, at least, I don't know, rally together under either patriotism, freedom, your love for freedom, or money, or your love of guns, or love of comedy, or anything like that, right? Or love of anime, or love of being a furry. But the point is just something that will bring you together with your friends and family. Because the more people there are, when manipulators try to manipulate you, there are more witnesses, right? Because if there are witnesses, having friends and family is what creates the possibility of, hey, you haven't been like yourself lately. How's everything? Right? So you have that. So having friends and family. So let's see, how do we combat manipulation? We drag it out past their time frame of their preferred time frame. We we drag it past that, and then we understand our natural surroundings. We surround ourselves with friends and families, right? And then, of course, document and remember. Sure, if you document everything, which is that's I don't know. When you document everything, it's a double-edged sword, right? Because George Carlin, he mentioned some schmuck walking around with a camera just filming everything like they're the next director. I mean, yeah, it's annoying, right? People who's just walking around filming stuff all the time, sometimes people feel uncomfortable. But sometimes it's needed to keep yourself safe, right? For instance, that particular incident at that dog park in New York where this lady says this guy was attacking her even though all he did was took out a dog treat for the dog or something like that, right? Had there not been cameras to document it, right? So important to have documentation. And of course, if you work, it's also important to document, because one of the things that's biting me in the ass right now is that I didn't document my interactions with management, right? I should have. I thought they were on my side. They weren't. So I can be the best employee ever, but I have no way to prove it, right? So they got me, right? Important to make documentation. Okay, let's see what else. Of course, use of comedy is important because, when it comes to manipulation, to rely on fear and respect. And, well, if you can make a joke of it all, then the fake manipulated into being respect falls away, right? Then, of course, another one to talk about. Actually, there was one. I'm surprised that I didn't have it in my notes. So you have laughter, right? But against manipulation, da, 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 da. Oh, staying calm is important because if they can manipulate your emotions, they can get you to act out, and if they can act out, they can just play with the context, right? Like for instance, I don't know, like if you have a sibling, you start talking mean stuff to each other, and then you finally get your sibling to hit you or do or scream or something, and then you go to the parents and you cry, and then you create a condition where the sibling is evil or something like that. I'm not talking about what. Hopefully, you're not doing this at 20-year-old or 30-year-old. I'm talking about like little kids, right? So there's that. Oh, right. Another thing about against manipulation, this actual one is really important, is to strengthen yourself. Having friends and family is good, but it's also very important to strengthen yourself because, like I said earlier, manipulators like to isolate you, to control you, and to take you out, right? So if you're strong, then create a situation. The quote for it is, "I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me." Something like that, right? Okay, now, so we covered how to battle manipulation. Um, Now, of course, I think I also wrote notes on another thing. The other thing I want to talk about is the different appeals. Like whenever you want, so this is both for, well, this is how you make appeals, right? Like appeal as in you want to appeal to, like you're trying to get someone to do something, right? Like, so I guess this is a part of the course where we're learning about manipulation slash convincing people to be more resistant against it, something like that. Now, when you want to convince people to do something, right, the classic three are logos, pathos, and ethos. I think I learned this back in English in college. Or was it English in high school? I don't know. It was a long time ago, but I'll go over each one. Logos would be logic, right? Let's say this deal will save you $20 per month, right? That's just cold hard fact, right? Another one would be pathos, which would be emotions. It's like, look at those people who are hurting over there. Don't you want to save them, right? Okay, then you have things like appeal to credibility or character, ethos, right? So ethos is like, I don't know, I guess, oh, right. There's like, I have 20 years of experience. You can trust me, right? That's ethos, character, right? Now, of course, that's all and good, but what does modern version of these three, there are branches of these three look like, right? Then you have things like appeal to morality, right? Save the kids, or I don't know, stop the murder, or things like that, right? Appeal to superiority, right? It's like, this is good because some celebrity or some powerful people like it, right? So that's appeal to superiority. Then you have appeal to vanity, right? Like, oh, only someone who's intelligent can understand this, or only someone who is beautiful is worthy of this, right? So you have appeal to superiority, then you have appeal to vanity, right? Like, oh, I don't know. Let's see. Oh, never mind. That's vanity. Oh, I got my vanity and my superiority mixed up. So superiority is someone strong likes it, so it's good. Vanity would be like, only smart people like this, and I think you're smart, or, most of the time this would be wasted on a normal person, but someone like you who loves like doing sports would enjoy this, something like that, right? Okay, it's a perfect fit, trust me, right? Then you have appeal to tradition. Is like it's how it's done in the last 20 years. Like people can't be wrong if they do this for 20 years. That's why I recommend this. It's good because people have done it for 20 years, right? Appeal to tradition. Appeal to fear, like, oh, I don't know, if we don't reach an agreement, the government is going to shut down, or, if you don't buy this next time, I know one. When you buy an instrument or buy electronics, it's like, if you don't do this when your device or musical instrument breaks, then you're just stuck. Buy the insurance, extend the warranty, something like that, right? Appeal to fear, right? And another one, appeal to fear. And this one actually is pretty mean too. It's like you say things to like like essentially fashion industry, right? Or makeup industry, right? You have things like, well, if you don't wear the most popular brand, you won't be as beautiful and you're going to miss out on the love of your life because you won't impress him with such shoddy whatever, right? So fear is a pretty potent one. Or you don't want to be homeless, do you? Like there's so many fear messaging in today's world. It's I get it. It takes honest work. It takes actually building something to appeal to people in some way other than fear. Fear is a very reliable tool, but I feel like the price of using fear all the time is the crushing of human potential and the dismissal of people as human beings, right? So you have that. Okay, and we got a few more. Appeal to popularity, right? Like everyone is doing this, why don't you? Everybody jump off the bridge, why don't you jump off the bridge? Something like that, right? So we have that. Appeal to nature is like, this is good because it's all natural, right? Or this is good because it's authentic. Like, is it? Who knows, right? Appeal to pity. So it's like, I deserve this because I have a hard life, right? And then, of course, I don't know. Pretty much appeal to pity is pretty much, unfortunately, it's something that happens all the time. Almost at every city in America, when you go to a traffic stop, there are homeless there waiting for you. That's appeal to pity, right? But then sometimes maybe appeal to morality is like, you're such a good person for giving me this money, right? Then you have appeal to ignorance. So, which is like, this one, appeal to ignorance. Well, I guess, because you can't prove it, there can't be ghosts, right? Or like, let's say, this one, appeal to ignorance. Oh, I know. It's like, you can't prove the earth is round. That's why the earth is flat, right? Oh, and speaking of which, I think flat earthers haven't figured out, because can you imagine? Whether you believe the earth is flat or not doesn't matter. But if you say the earth is flat and you can find someone who's willing to say, you know what, I'm taking you on a trip around the world just to prove to you that the earth is round. And you can get that out of people just by saying, I don't believe the earth is round, the earth is flat. That's some crazy manipulation and crazy gains for just saying you don't believe the earth is round, right? So I don't know. That's the thing. Sometimes manipulation is too useful, but that's the thing. Manipulation is too useful, but it's not good if it is the only thing that's available to all of us. Because in video game terms, is the foundation of everything is player versus environment, our manipulation of the environment to build civilization into something great. But manipulation is good. Well, manipulation is good in the sense of it's profitable to be manipulative because it's player versus player, right? One person enacting on another person, right? So instead of farming nature, you're farming people, right? But the thing is, if you only do people farming people, eventually you run out of resources because the foundation comes from the farming of the environment, right? Building a great empire, building a, right, or pretty much society, right? So we have that. So we covered how to combat manipulation, right? First, we drag it out past their time of preparation. We are familiar with our natural rhythm of life. Let's see, natural rhythm of life, right? Then we have strong families and friends. So we have people who know us as who we are and we watch out for each other so they can pick us out, right? Then we also have, why do I feel like I'm missing something? Let's see. Then, yep, document when you can, make mockery of manipulation tactics if you can, right? Then, of course, right, let me see. I don't know, like, pretty much at the end of the day, I guess what I'm just trying to say, to put everything together without bashing my head. At the end of the day, manipulation is one of the three strategies for a reason. And some people are just better at it than others. And but that's the thing. Speed and power, you can see them coming at you, but manipulation you can't. And that's why manipulations are the preferred method by evil people. And it's easy to do evil with manipulation. And though I'm pretty sure there are people who do great things with manipulation out there too. And if I have to be one, I want to be one that does things for good, right? So, but at the end of the day, I just want you guys to be happy and don't have lots of suffering out there, or at least needless suffering. And so many things can be prevented if we just asked a few more questions. And so, yeah, man, it's been a week already, hasn't it? America is going through a defining moment, and I want to do what I can to help as many people as possible. I may be poor right now, but I want to be able to at least pass my knowledge on, because if I disappear, I disappear, but at least if the message can live on, then it lives on. Anyways, thank you for spending the last, 40 minutes with me. This is one of the longer ones. I'm surprised that I actually have that much things to talk about. At least, okay, so maybe it's my, autism? I don't think I'm autistic, although maybe mildly. But sometimes when it comes to topics that I'm really passionate about, like how to counter manipulators or morality or, I don't know, philosophy, video games, music, things like that, I tend to just have lots of things to talk about. But anyways, I hope this has been useful to you, and beware of the manipulators out there, and stay strong, my friends. Bye.